Greetings, this is dslyecxi. It's been a while since I last did a generalized talky kind of video, so I thought I might as well take a few minutes to lay out what's happening these days, what the future holds, and that sort of thing. I'm going to talk on a few different topics here, so if you're here for some topics but not others, here's a handy little reference for the topics and when they occur. You can also find the same thing in the video description. So we'll start off on a channel note. One of the things that I struggle with when choosing to create content for my channel is deciding what exactly meets my standards for gameplay videos. There are often videos that I'll create that I'm not sure meet the normal standard. They're what I'd call something akin to companion footage or a snippet, this was cool kind of stuff. Specifically, these are often things that happened in a session that I thought were neat, or they help to give perspective to another member's footage, but which I wouldn't necessarily produce or highlight in the same way I do my normal videos. So for instance, I might not put in the intro or the outro slides and titles and that sort of stuff. So the question I have there is really simple. Would there be interest in seeing this kind of footage anyway? I'd likely give it some special tag to make it stand out, something to identify it as a companion piece, a snippet, or whatever, something to manage expectations. So to give you a more concrete example of this, Kilroy recently released a video of a run of Insertion Assault. I made a short alternate perspective that I haven't released, and you can find it here. So take a look at that if you'd like, and if you think that's the sort of thing you wouldn't mind seeing more of, let me know. The important distinction here is that creating this kind of footage doesn't take away from what I'm already doing. It wouldn't mean a decrease in the normal video flow, it'd just be some supplemental stuff that some people might find interesting. There's a reason I made it, maybe you'll enjoy it as well. So perhaps it's silly that I'm essentially asking for permission to put out lighter content, but I take this all rather seriously, and I don't intend to do something like that unless I'm comfortable that it'll be received as intended. So that's a question for you guys. If you'd like to reply, please feel free to do so in the comments of this video or in the linked one. So moving on, let's talk about ShackTac for a bit. As you can see, we've been running our sessions as a mixture of Arma 2 for our co-op and Arma 3 for adversarials. Now this isn't exactly ideal, but it is what it is, and we're not going to rush into Arma 3 for co-op until we're confident that it supports the kind of gameplay and performance we need for our style of sessions. Now this is in part a mod aspect. The vehicle set in particular needs a lot of attention to bring it up to Arma 2 standards, but it's also a big performance question. With that being said, there are things to be excited about for our future in Arma 3. We've recently begun testing Acre 2, and so far it's been very promising. You won't see videos of it yet, but when you do, I'm sure you'll notice a difference. I'm personally very excited to transition over to it in our Arma 3 future. We've been testing co-ops as well, and while there's clearly a lot to be done there, it's at least more promising than in the past. Hopefully this year we'll start seeing more co-ops happening in Arma 3, though it's noted we won't fully make that transition until we're confident that it fits us. In the meantime, Acre 2 should add a nice layer to our adversarials, and hopefully that's something we can adopt sooner rather than later. Now, as far as the future of Arma 3 itself, that's an area where I'm personally very hyped. For full disclosure, Marksmen is a DLC that I've done consulting and design work on, so there could be a bit of bias in what I say about it, but you can all be the judge of that when it comes out. With that out of the way, the Marksmen expansion is shaping up to have some of the most meaningful changes to infantry weapon handling that the series has ever seen. Without going into any actual detail on them, the new recoil, the weapon resting, and the weapon deployment features are all things that dramatically change the infantry gameplay, much more so than any modded attempts at similar features have accomplished in the past. So it's really great to see that Bohemia is putting their energy towards enhancing the engine to better support the core aspects of infantry combat, what the series is best at. And I'm personally very psyched to see what the community's reception to these features is like, and we don't have very long to wait either. So that's going to be cool. Shifting over and looking at the modding future of things, it's nice to see that the Make Armor Not War contest, the submissions have concluded and it's essentially over aside from the judging and the announcing of the prizes and stuff. So while those winners won't be announced for a bit, the closing of entries has made it possible for the modding community in general to get back to cooperating with each other, to sharing work, resources, etc., and not hoarding things because of the allure of prizes. People have been asking what ShackTac's plans are regarding realism mods and similar, and why we haven't adopted anything yet despite wanting to have features like advanced wounding in our sessions. The answer to that lies in a project that is yet to be announced, but in short, there is a plan, the future's bright, and it's something that I feel has only become possible since the Make Arma entries closed. I'm very excited to see this upcoming mod pull things together in the best spirit of Arma modding, and it'll be good to get back on track, but more on that when the time's right. So getting back to ShackTac for a moment. One of the things that I continue to struggle with is our ability to onboard new members, and not tip past the point of what Arma is capable of supporting. Not to mention growing past the point of a good community experience, something that's, close, tight-knit. I'm not interested in having the biggest community possible or splitting our player count across multiple servers or anything like that. There are some that see that as an acceptable solution, and maybe that works for them, but it's not for us. We still get a lot of join inquiries. I mean, a lot. We're a few hundred away from breaking 10,000 applicants since the group's founding, with a big chunk of those coming from 2012 and onward. Our last major join batch was March of 2014. That's almost a year ago. Since then, we've had about 1,600 additional applicants, and I've been working in batches to distill that down to a potential new join set. I still have nearly 500 left to read, and the next batch of joins will likely be somewhere between 30 and 45 people, so 2 to 3% of those who applied. I wish there was a better way to do this, but I don't think there is, and I've spent a lot of my time thinking on this, trying to find other options. Maybe in the future, as Arma makes larger player counts more feasible, but maybe not. It's hard to say. The influxes of new members that happened with us post-DayZ, it won't be repeated. We've changed as a community, and everything from here on out is going to be slow and measured. And as much as I know people want to hear dates and schedules for onboarding, the reality of the situation isn't that clear-cut. And I almost always regret putting dates on these things. For instance, I'd intended to do a new join bash in January, and that hasn't happened yet. It's gonna happen, just not yet. We still have some things that we need to do to prepare for it. I mean, it should go without saying, I appreciate the interest, and I really look forward to meeting those who will be chosen for this next batch. I'm sorry that number can't be larger, but I hope that those of you who don't make it in can find some other cool places to play. If you weren't already aware of it, aside from the official Bohemia forum section that's devoted to groups, there's also a subreddit where you can search for communities, and this is a URL for it. Take a look. So on a more personal topic, I receive a lot of email, and the blunt reality of it, I can't keep up with it. I read everything, but I have very little time to respond, and a lot falls through the cracks because of that. If you sent me something and haven't heard back, that's why. It's just overwhelming to deal with, and I've yet to be able to keep up. Sorry. Apparently I need a secretary. I don't think I can afford a secretary for quite some time. We'll see. Back to channel topics. Allow me to highlight a few things that I've done lately that if you missed, you might want to take a look at. I started a new series I call Hindsight, in which I take a detailed look at some situation from our sessions and go into detail on what went right, what went wrong, the lessons that can be learned, that sort of thing. It's a very non-judgmental, learning-oriented series that I really look forward to continuing. I can't say how often they'll come out, but I do want everyone to know that when one appears, it's going to be worth the wait. And you can see the first Hindsight video here. I also did something that's rather unusual. It's not even Arma related in any way. There's a game called RimWorld. It's like a sci-fi accessible version of Dwarf Fortress. I wanted to make some kind of content to promote it because it's really fun and I think it deserves more attention. So I ended up doing this as a story, and if you haven't seen it, check it out here. I'm a little surprised this one didn't take off more than it did, but such is the way of the internet. If you enjoy it, feel free to share it around. I also did a music video of sorts from my recent real-world flight experiences. You can find that one here. The day 2 of flight is coming along, and I think it's safe to say that it'll be out this month. I probably jinxed it by saying that, but whatever. So those are 3 things from recent months that I think are particularly special. In addition to those, I did the 2014 year in review, a bunch of videos about the Arma 3 advanced flight model, new episodes of Art of Flight, and a boatload of gameplay videos from our sessions. And I hope you all have been enjoying it. I'm really happy to be supported to the point that I can do all this to the level that I do. Now, speaking of that support, it comes in a variety of forms, and all of it is valuable and meaningful to me. Whether it's just watching and enjoying a video, commenting on it and not being an asshole, sharing them, or doing monetary support via the YouTube fan funding feature or my Patreon campaign, all of it matters. It's real. It's real support that makes this possible, and you all have my sincere thanks. I would have never thought that a channel based around Arma in this kind of context would be as successful as it is. That our serious fun would be so addictive to watch. I don't look to branch into a variety gaming channel or anything like that. It's not where my interests are. I want to make ShackTac the best it can be. I want to help refine Arma into the best title it can be. I want to teach people. I want to entertain them. I want to show you something that I hold very close to my heart and treasure. And I want you to see why. I want to share this passion, the passions of a group of people who are involved in something that's so much more than the sum of its parts. A community of friends playing a series that more than anything else allows you to create the narrative that you want to experience. There's nothing else out there like this. And it's been such a rewarding run up to this point. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the future holds. This year has all sorts of cool stuff in the pipe, and next year, who knows? I hope we continue to move onward and upward. So that's that. It's a bit all over the place, but I wanted to share some thoughts, and that's what you get. This is dslyecxi. Thank you for listening, and until next time, take care.